So hello my friends, in today's video I'm going to show you guys how in Affinity Photo to do dodging and burning using the dodge and burn tools. So the photo that you guys see on screen right now is a photo I took last month. This is our model Sierra, and almost done editing this image. We are getting super close. This is not the final edit that you see on screen. There is another project for that, but so this is like I said, this is a photo I took last month with my creative team out here in Las Vegas. But I'm going to show you guys the before and after what we're going to be doing here today. So it's going to be this guy right here, right? So we're going to be doing, I'm just adjusting the opacity right now so you can see what we're doing. I will be doing this on the face as well, so you can see what it looks like on the face, and that's kind of what it does. And let me zoom in a little bit here as well so you can see more apparent before and after of what we're doing. That's what we're going to be doing, is fixing all of that. Ignore some of the texture fixes that you're seeing there on that below layer. We're just going to be doing that right there with the dodge and burn tool. So how did I get to this point? I am using frequency separation, which is a filter over here. Frequency separation, it's in the sharpening filters. I will be doing a video here shortly on how to best practices with how to set that up, but I am using frequency separation for this technique. I will be doing another video as well showcasing how to use this specific technique among a couple other techniques that are very similar to what we're going to be doing today, but not using it through frequency separation, just using it through a single layer. There are some ways that you can kind of adjust it to do it on its own separate layer, which that will be coming here shortly. But for the, suffice it to say, for this particular photo, that is how I'm using it. So with frequency separation, it'll create a high frequency layer, which is up here, and a low frequency layer, which is technically the combination of these three. This is the original right there. So I'm doing the dodge and burn technique that we're going to showcase right now on the low layer, which is down here. The high layer up here has our texture, which we're not going to touch. We're going to just focus on fixing the highlights and shadows. So let me explain really briefly what is dodging and burning, so you have an idea of what dodging and burning is. Dodging and burning is a tool that allows us as photographers or retouchers to contour after the fact of taking a photo. And not only that, it also allows us to fix improper lighting techniques. So so with that, if you're, say for example, you're shooting beauty and you're using a beauty dish or a small modifier that's focused mostly on the face, there's going to be natural fall if that happens between the neck and the shoulders on downwards. That's just how those modifiers work. So with that, there's always going to be kind of an unevenness in terms of lighting, just because it's a small modifier, it's focused mostly on the face, and then there's going to be just light fall off. That's really what's going to happen. So with that, if you want to be able to fix that, you use dodging and burning. Now outside of that, use dodging and burning to contour the face and the body structure and the body, just body parts and the actual figure of someone, to basically give them more depth and to give them more shape. That's what dodging and burning, those are the two reasons why people use dodging and burning. It's to either fix lighting, or it's to add more dimension to your photo, and it's also to fix and bring out someone's jaw structure. So that's just kind of the mindset on what we're going to really be doing. I'm going to be doing a mixture of both of those things. So since we have our frequency separation set up, I'm going to disable these two so you can just see the flat image. Since this is the original layer down here, what I'm going to do is go up here and duplicate that layer so I can do it before and after for you guys. How do we find the dodge and burn tool? Well, we go over here into this. These are like the they're not like really the healing type tools, but these are more of like the sharpening and the highlight and contouring type of tools. And this is where we find the dodge and burn tool. So my rule of thumb is always to start with dodging first. Dodging is lifting up shadows. That's really what it does. It lifts up shadows. It makes things brighter. Basically, what dodging does. By default, when you guys open up this tool, you're going to have opacity set to 100%. Flow should be 100% as well, and hardness maybe at 50%. What we're going to do is we're going to drop the opacity down to between 10 to 25%. And the reason why is because for me, my rule of thumb is I'd rather do larger strokes and just do them over and over again, so that it adds up and it's more of a subtle effect and I have a little bit more control. And that's part of the reason why I leave the opacity lower. And then as far as flow, as opposed to having 100 or something less than 100%, I just leave it at 100% so that I can modulate and I can control the amount of this effect with just opacity only. You could do the same thing with flow. We'll do another video showcasing the difference between opacity and flow, but you could do it that way as well. We want them to make sure the hardness is set to 0% because we want a very soft and edge-free transition between where we're applying the effect and the rest of the image. We don't want it to be hard edges. And we're going to leave the width between 200 to 300 pixels. Just because as you're doing this, you want the brush size to be very large and very subtle, so you can have more even transitions between where you're applying the effect. Also, by default, it should be set to midtones. I'm going to show you guys really quickly what that means. So a midtone is right here in the image. It's not quite a shadow, it's not quite a highlight, it's just kind of like an even right in the middle of the exposure. I guess the exposure slider, if you were looking at exposure slider. And this is a shadow over here, and a highlight would be right here. So that versus something like this versus something like that. Those are all different exposures. So what happens when you go over into this tool and it's saying, okay, select your range, you can either set it to affect shadows only, midtones only, or highlights only. By default, it should be set to midtones. Leave it at midtones and then change it as needed. I'll show you guys that as we kind of go along. But the same kind of overarching settings that you can change on the dodge tool that we're using right now are the same settings that you can change on the burn tool. So I'm not going to cover the changes again. I'll just let you know the settings that I'm using. So I'm just going to get started. We're talking a lot. There's a lot to kind of cover before we get into it. But I'm going to just start kind of hitting this thing, and you'll see little by little what it's doing. So main thing that I do when I first start using this tool is that I start to fix any of the uneven areas that I know for a fact that I want them to be more even holistically across the image. And then from there, I then switch over to the burn tool and I do contouring. For me, the dodge tool is mostly just fixing bad lighting. I'm not gonna lie about it. It just fixes, for me, I use it to fix mostly bad lighting. And then I use the burn tool to really just contour. Granted, you can use the dodge tool as well to contour, but yeah, that's just kind of the way I personally use it. So, and I'll show you guys the before and after as we're kind of hitting it already. Boom, bam, boom, bam, boom, bam, boom. Okay, so that right there is just evening out the face versus the shoulders and neck. Then now we're gonna go back to our sharpening our brushes. I don't know what this brush window is called, but this brush window over here, we're gonna hit the burn brush. Same settings as before, 200 to 300 width, opacity 25%, and then you can increase or decrease that as needed. Flow 100%, hardness 0, so it's soft, and we're gonna set it to midtones. And I'm gonna show you guys where some of the areas that you want to make sure that you're actually adding some contouring. I will do a separate video showcasing a little bit more in depth where to contour, but we're gonna hit that nose, bridge of the nose right there. We're gonna hit these bad boys right here a little bit, and you'll see me start to adjust the opacity a little bit. I mean the width a little bit here, and the opacity, as a matter of fact. And then we'll kind of add a little bit right there, add a little bit right there, and we'll add a little bit up here, a little bit right there. I'm gonna increase the opacity and hit those collarbones a little bit, just a little bit on the collarbones. Okay, a little bit on there. And then one of the main areas is gonna be right around the eyes to bring out the eyes. Get those eyes right there and get the eyebrows. And then from there, we're gonna zoom out, make the brush bigger, and we're gonna hit the hair, add some more contrast to the hair. Brush that in, and we're gonna hit the flowers a little bit, add a little more contrast there. And then now I'm gonna go back over to the dodge tool, and we're gonna actually move this over to highlights, drop the opacity down, and then we're gonna just start to do some more massive contouring, which is gonna be here, hit right here underneath the eyes. We're gonna hit the eyes themselves. Okay, eyes themselves, open that back up, bring out the eyebrow a little bit, and make the brush a little bit larger. Hit the forehead, open that up, And then we're gonna go back down here and we're gonna smack those collarbones. Okay, do a little bit of that. Okay, okay. Hit this cheek a little bit right there to even that out. And we're gonna hit the flowers on the head. Okay. And maybe some of the flowers down here a little bit. And I will show you guys the before and after. It's gonna be a little bit slow because I'm recording, but the before and after. Boom. Like I said, I will be doing a future video on letting you guys know exactly where to contour. I'm not explaining that in this video, that will come. But that right there is how you use those two brushes right there. There are going to be a little bit more strategies and techniques. We can probably spend half an hour talking about these specific tools, but I just want to showcase to you guys what is possible with them. From there, you can kind of just, if you're just like, oh no, that setting, that effect was too strong, just go on that layer. This is part of the reason why I duplicated on this particular layer, and just change the opacity. Boom, there you go. And then you could just kind of adjust that accordingly. I would think maybe about 60% would be great. And then there you go. You can see the before and after. So I use that technique mostly to fix, like I said before, bad lighting. And then from there I contour just to bring out a little bit more highlight in the cheeks and a little bit on the eyes, a little bit on the hair. If there's accessories and garments and things of that nature that I want to accentuate, boom, hit that. If I thought for whatever reason that this shawl or this item that she was wearing, which is just a throw, but if I thought that was too bright, I would just use the dodge tool to, or sorry, the burn tool to just burn that down and drop that. I use it selectively to basically fix lighting, honestly, and then contouring like I mentioned before. But that, my friend, wraps up today's video. We're all set here. As always, hit that subscribe button down below. While you're over there, mouse over and hit that bell button as well so you can stay up to date on the latest content that we're dropping on our page. As always, if you have any comments, questions, or you'd like to see a future video that we have the capabilities to do on our channel, by all means let us know. We'll get that knocked out for you. We review every single comment that we get from you guys, which is awesome. We appreciate every single one. And then outside of that, stay tuned to our channel. We got some great content coming up soon. Some more different techniques to show you guys so you have some more tools in your quiver belt and in your arsenal so that you're well prepared, unlike I was when I first started, which is great. So, and then, as always, my friends, peace out.